Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I hope that you are doing well, keeping safe, and keeping active and birding. Mm, Today, I want to present the set of guidelines and protocols that we have put in place since Colombia has opened back its borders for international flights, and tourism is gonna start coming back to the country slowly but surely. We are anticipating that by the first trimester of 2021, mm, a lot of the tourism activities will be back to some resemblance of normal, and we want to be prepared to that, and of course, show you and you what we have in place in order to welcome you back to the country in a safe way. So, without further ado, let me share my screen for a short and hopefully good presentation that will increase your level of confidence and hopefully will put back Colombia in your map for traveling uh, at some point in 2021. Okay, let's get started with the presentation. So traveling a responsible way is back. We have developed a set of safety standards to mitigate the risk associated to COVID-19 virus transmission while traveling. We know it's not possible to completely eliminate those risks, but we believe and we are confident that by the application of these safety protocols, we will be able to mitigate it in a way that you're going to feel very safe about traveling back to Colombia. These standards are based on guidelines by the Adventure Travel Association, and they are tailored to our own bird watching operations and, of course, Colombia's laws, regulations, and health protocols. We want to make sure that you feel safe traveling with us to Colombia, and that we are ready to operate while minimizing COVID-19 contamination risk. Bird watching per se has advantages when you compare it to any other form of tourism and any other form of traveling. By nature, we manage small groups of 4 to 6 participants. So I anticipate that by at least during the first 3 months of 2021, we are only going to be operating small groups of up to 6 participants, and we will favor those groups where all participants are, for example, from the same family group or close friends that you feel kind of very much safe about traveling with. Outdoors in a natural setting is pretty much what we do when we're watching. 95 to 98% of all times are spent on an outdoor natural setting. And of course, that's kind of like the perfect scenario if you're going to be traveling and doing something around a group of people. At least it's pretty much far from cities and crowds. Spacing and protection measures are easy to implement for the same nature of our birding tours, and we believe that shared responsibility is vital. So, of course, we are creating those protocols. We are going to make sure that we implement them and that we follow through. We do the same with our local partners. The government is ready to receive visitors back. The health system now is ready to follow on cases if needed. We do have now in place all the testing requirements, and the infrastructure is there. And of course, we need you to also do your part by following through these protocols and make sure that you are taking care of yourself, basically, just before you decide to make an international travel, just making a responsible choice of just keeping a distance with people. Um, yeah, I think that's just very important to do at this point. And as you can see, this is actually a picture on a tour that we have on 2018, and kind of depicts the perfect a perfect scene of something that you will find where bird watching in Colombia. And I like to put that in contrast with last week here, downtown Nashville, where I live, where, as you can see, most people are actually following the protocol, at least of covering their faces, not at all social distancing, because it's just not possible to crowd it. with some exceptions of people not following through, but I definitely feel much safer on these instances than that one. And I believe that you will be very much in agreement with me on that one. Okay, now let's talk about different stages during the process of traveling. The first one would be before you travel. What happened before you travel? The Colombian government has made mandatory that we all need to present a negative COVID-19 test, and that this one needs to be taken within 96 hours from departure. So 4 hours, 4 days, sorry, 4 days before departure, you need to present a COVID-19 negative test in order to fly to Colombia. You're also going to need to complete a self-assessment screening questionnaire. All airlines are asking for this questionnaire. We can also provide one um, from our local insurance partner. And this is going to be questions in the line of what are your isolation habits, if you have any pre-existing high-risk conditions, of course, and if there is existence of signs or symptoms prior to the trip. And this screening questionnaire goes along the lines of traceability, sorry. So to know what are other people that you may have been in contact with in the past 2 weeks. Not that you're gonna be a COVID positive case at all, but if anyone that has been in contact with you become positive at some point, then during the tour we get access to that information in almost real time. So that's very important. You are gonna complete a digital form that we're gonna send you the link within 24 hours from flight departure, and this is just a very good idea because it expedites your time upon arrival in Colombia. So instead of doing all the paperwork that we normally have to do and present it in customs, then that's gonna be all done online. So it just gets you through customs much more efficiently and quickly. And please travel with confidence. If you are feeling unwell while you are preparing for your trip, if you get a check at the airport and then your temperature is high and then they don't allow you to travel, or if you test positive on that COVID-19 test that you need to take 4 days uh, prior to departure, then peace of mind because we are going to offer that we postpone your tour to a future date and then your price is locked. So as long as you take the same experience with us, uh, be sure that your price is gonna remain the same and that we are pretty much welcome you and waiting for you to for the right time for you to come. But hopefully that will not be the case and you will be able to actually make it on your time. At the airport and during flights, there are protocols and guidelines to follow. This is super standard across the flight industry these days. And I decided to pick up a video by United Airlines. They travel to Colombia, one of the main airlines that travel to Colombia from several cities in the States. But I liked the video because it's very telling. So let me just play it for you. Sorry. Um, And that is it. From the flight industry, this is pretty much the standard that you will find throughout airports in the United States and also airports in Colombia. And let's continue. Okay. Upon arrival in Bogota, you will be required, or Cali or Medellin, depending on what is the city of that the city from where we are starting our birding tour. You will be required to wear a mask at the airport at all times. Your tour guide will pick you up, and he will be wearing a mask too, same as the driver. At hotels and lodges, paperless pre-check options are gonna be favored, and I'm gonna make sure that I work with hotels and lodges that have this type of technologies in place, because then it will help us just to minimize exposure and to expedite check-in process. So one way to do this in a very efficient and I believe easy way is that everyone can, for example, that I can actually send a copy of your passport to the hotel so that they can expedite that check-in process. Intros, presentations, and Q&A will be done during the first night in the hotel, preserving social distance among participants, and we will secure a secluded kind of a table in a corner where we don't get really much contact with other people staying in the same hotel or lodge. And we will favor hotel lodges that have in-house dining. Unfortunately, I think these are not days where we are going to be kind of like going out and exploring too much of the city. Although of course we can do it in a responsible way, but I will rather prefer to have dinner options inside the hotel just to minimize that exposure. And the only piece of paper, hard copy that you're gonna be receiving from us is a copy of the checklist, one given to participants per each participant, and please don't share that with others. Okay, now during the tour, every morning before we start, we're gonna ask about symptoms that you may have, and we will take participants' temperature, and that includes the driver and the guide, and we will keep a data log. And this is not only to see how are you feeling and if there are any symptoms related to COVID-19, but also this is related to the traceability that we were discussing at the beginning. We will provide a personal safety kit for participants containing a mask, hand sanitizer, toilet paper, and a reusable water bottle. So you don't have to worry about those items. And we will have many to spare, I mean, to keep giving throughout the tour. And we will have also a scope to share. So our guides, all of them have a scope on their own and they take them with them on the tours. But then just for you to know, the guide will have to clean and disinfect after each of you uses the scope and again then at the end of the day. So we encourage you, highly encourage you, if you can and if you have, bring your own scope and of course your own field guide, binoculars, all your gears. And let's try don't share those with other participants on the group. On the field, we encourage social distance as much as possible, although we understand that sometimes when you're going to see those skulky little birds that are difficult to see, like the antitas that only give us 20, 30 seconds in order to see them, we know that at that point, probably the social distancing doesn't make much sense, but please be just mindful those moments, wear your mask and just be very aware that other people are around you. We will secure a private area to call birds in every day at night, and we will do it preferably outdoors. And this will be very easy to accommodate when we are outside any major city. And we will keep and share an evert list anyway to all participants. So if you don't feel like sitting around the other people to complete a checklist every night, rest assured because we're gonna share every day or every other day the evert list with all the birds that we saw throughout the day. Land transportation protocol. We work with the most responsible, well-respected land transportation company for bird watching in Colombia, period. They are like the top-notch birding transportation company in Colombia. The drivers are also birders, so they also help us to identify the birds, but also they are very serious when it comes to safety, cleaning, and disinfecting protocols. then we will use the same private van at all times. And unless you're coming from same family that is or group of friends that are living together, we are gonna need to leave a seat empty between participants. This is pretty much the same case as is happening with airplanes. Our driver will wear a mask at all times, and the vehicle's AC system will be equipped with filters that are similar to those used in airplanes and medical grade masks. So the air will be filtered through that mechanism to maximize the ventilation of that air. Driver will clean and disinfect high-touch surfaces like door handlers often. And when I say often, it means every time that you get off and in the van, then the handler will have to be disinfected. And the driver will perform a deep clean and disinfection at the end of the day, so that we know that every morning when we start the birding day, the tour, we have a vehicle that has been completely cleaned and disinfected for our own sake. The protocols for hotels and lodges are to increase daily cleaning with disinfection of surfaces and extra cleaning of high contact areas like light switches and door handlers. And that's something very important that we also want to see in our local partner hotels and lodges. They have rules in place to alternate the use of dining area with other groups. So if we are in a lodge and there is another group of people staying in the hotel, they need to schedule so that we don't spend much time together in the same common area. I think that's something very smart to actually do. We are gonna be using face masks when we are in common areas, and they have screening measures in place to for their staff every morning, also temperature and asking questions of how they feel. And they need to provide access to hand washing facilities and sanitizer throughout the facility. And again, we will organize our checklist to be completed outdoors. So these are just photos of the implementation on safety protocols by one of our main birding partners, the Tinamu Birding Lodge in the Coffee area of Colombia. So as you can see, everyone wears a face mask and eye protection. Everything that comes to the lodge needs to be thoroughly disinfected, like food and supplies. Even our luggage will also go through this disinfection process. And don't worry about the like opticals. Opticals won't go through this disinfection process because that's pretty much our own responsibility. This is the way that they are doing deep cleaning and disinfection of our rooms, keeping up with all the protocols, and I would say even going beyond what is expected in terms of taking care of themselves and of course our and us as their guests. Look at the way that they clean our food, even with gloves, with face protection, making sure that there is no way of cross contamination there. And also every morning when the staff is starting their shift, they take the temperatures, they ask how they are feeling. There are hand sanitizer stations throughout the facility. And even here we can scan this one, and in our cell phone we get then access to the protocols. And well, this one probably will be a set menu because this is a lodge that is catered to birders. But even in many restaurants we will have this one so that we actually scan it and then we have the menu on our cell phone. So it's gonna be completely a touchless experience, similar to what is happening in some restaurants here in the States. In some. Okay, now what happens if there is a suspected or confirmed COVID-19 case while we are in the country during our tour? Upon presenting symptoms like coughing, fever, respiratory distress, muscle pain, or headache, participants will go on self-isolation for the day. And with this, what I want to say is that it doesn't mean that you already have COVID-19 or that I have COVID-19. Symptoms can be related to many other reasons, yeah. And when we are traveling abroad, it's likely that we one day we have stomach issues or that we are, I mean, that we have some muscle pain. That's our headache. That those things are pretty normal during a tour. So what we will do, and this is just to mitigate any kind of risk, is that person will go into self-isolation. Hopefully, we will be away from a main city, so you can actually be still in a very nice nature area in your lodge and still with good views from the balcony of the birds around the location where you need to self-isolate. If symptoms persist, then we will contact our local insurance partner, called Asistencia. They have been running insurance for tourism for over 20 years, so they have the experience that we need. A medical doctor will determine via video call um, whether a COVID-19 test is needed. And if he deems that is needed, then we will take you to the closest health center for that COVID test to take place. And if the result is positive, then we will just follow whatever guidelines the health authorities have in place at that time. Um, Most likely, participant will go into quarantine. Mm, Through our local partner insurance called Asistencia, everything that has to do with medical expenses, including the test, are already covered under your travel policy. So the price that you pay for your tour include this. This is pretty much an entry level, kind of an emergency, but really, really good and effective travel insurance, and it goes up to $1,800. So even before COVID, but in with more reason now that COVID is something we have to live with presently, we encourage you to acquire comprehensive medical and travel insurance. Okay, and then final considerations. Our ultimate goal is to guarantee that you have a delightful birding experience while feeling confident that your safety is being taken care of. So we don't want you to have to worry all the time of what is going to happen here, and that I am completely not feeling that they are taking good care of me. We want you to focus on what you are supposed to be doing, that is enjoying the birds, trying to find as many beautiful birds as possible, the landscape, the food, the coffee, and even the people with distance, but also taking good part of that community. We are working closely with our local partners to further optimize their health, safety, and cleanliness procedures. And we know, and I totally get it, that this isn't a one size fits all world. I know that probably even a majority of you will wait until FDA approved vaccine is in place and is widely available, and it has shown efficacy before you decide to travel again. And that's fine. We are confident we can mitigate the risk associated to COVID-19 exposure by implementing these protocols and guidelines here presented, but we ultimately, you are the one that decides what level of risk is acceptable. Totally get it. We will wait for your right time to come back birding to the birdest country on earth, Colombia. And I believe with that, reference to resources and additional resources, and with that we finish the presentation. So I hope that throughout the presentation, we managed to show you how we are preparing in a responsible way to welcome you back to Colombia, to regain some of the confidence that I know is hard these days when it comes to international travel, but just to let you know that we are ready here waiting for you on your right time, on your terms, and that we are looking forward to have you back birding with us at some point, hopefully in 2021. And with that, I say goodbye and see you next time. Bye bye.